Welcome back to the Comic Book ASM Artist. Today we're going to be doing another comic haul. And this is technically really my Christmas haul, but it's New Year's Day, so Happy New Year's to everyone. And so I'll be showing off my books that I got, and I did get a few other random items as well. And then I got something really cool I want to show off at the end that I was not expecting. So let's just get started. So first off, they had this on the counter at my shop. This is Stanley the Snowman from Scoop Comics, and this is the Comic Tom 101 variant cover here, which I was surprised to see. They actually had a stack of these, and then they had another book there as well that I already had, but they were freebies, maybe as like stocking stuffers, something like that. So, yeah, I was glad to pick this up because this was one I missed out with Comic Tom's Mystery Mail Call. You check out his channel, I think it's just Comic Tom 101. And sign up for the Mystery Mail Call. I think it's around maybe $37 a month. You get a few exclusive variant covers, and then you're the chance to possibly pull a really rare book sometimes. To do CGC type slab books, and then there's just like, other valuable first appearances and stuff. So I was surprised by this because I had only known the cover of this, so I was maybe expecting the inside to match. But yeah, this is done in like a manga style here, so it seems like it skews towards a younger audience, and I believe that's kind of the point here. Comic Tom started to include one all ages book in there, and each box too, which is the Scoot imprint of Scout Comics. So Scoot stuff is for kids. So we have that. Then we have Robin and Batman #2, and I absolutely love this series. It's just a little 3-part mini series here, but it took a turn that I did not expect. So this is kind of the beginnings of Robin here, Dick Grayson Robin. So just beautiful art here. As I said before, I always love whenever the cover of a book actually matches the inside of the book. Dustin is just such a skill with what he does. This is well written. So yeah, it was setting up basically Killer Croc had put together that the costume, well, this is his new one, but he was using his circus costume to crime fight, and he had a mask on, but he had put that together. So I thought this was just gonna flow right into that, but it takes a turn where it's his birthday, and then Batman sends him up to meet with the Justice League. So we get to see some Justice League characters here, as well as like the kids. So not at this, I guess it's technically Teen Titans, but they're not formed as Teen Titans yet. But just a lot of fun, and I loved it a lot. So nice little diversion from the Killer Croc thing. This is definitely still a point of the story though, but this was just kind of like a detour there. So we have another prestige book here. This is Batman the Imposter #3. And this is a much more gritty Batman story here. It's basically there is someone pretending to be Batman who's killing a bunch of people. And so Bruce is trying to find out who the imposter is and clear his name. And this is a much more gritty style, as you can see here. This is a mature rated book, and this is the conclusion of this story as well. But another story that I just really enjoyed reading. I'm glad I got it. I love whenever just the art is firing on all cylinders, like it was in that one. So a lot of prestige format books in this haul here. So next we have, this is Jock's One Dark Night. So yeah, this is another gritty Batman story. It's a mature black label one. And this is all about basically a prison transfer that goes sideways with a very powerful villain, which I've never heard of this villain here. I'm trying to remember even what they were called. I'm trying to remember on the back. I think it's just EMP, maybe. Yeah, EMP is the name of the villain. So he controls like electricity and stuff like that. So they had him in like a secure truck, and then just kind of something happens where the truck gets compromised, and then he runs loose, and yeah, it's not a good result for what happens to the vast majority of Arkham stuff. Gets compromised real fast, and this is the setup for the rest of the story. I'm not sure if this is going to be a three-parter like the other couple I've shown off here, where it's going to be longer or not, but basically it's Batman continuing the escort of EMP since the police department became compromised and could no longer handle the transport. So next we have, this is Batman Catwoman number 9 here. And I'm assuming at this point that Liam is just the new artist for this series. Maybe it was a deadline thing or something, so Liam just took it over. I don't think it was Tom King's initial intent to have Liam work on this, but Liam has taken it over and kind of made it his own. I think this is his trademark thing with the Joker now. It's kind of doing like this ribbon lip thing on him, because I noticed he was even doing that in the Batman Reptilian book. Obviously the Joker still looked different in that, but that lip thing he carried over from this, or the other way around rather. So, but Liam does a good job at just really highlighting a lot of character in the villains, making them, he adds flourishes on them, yet still makes them recognizable. I think he had a little more liberties in Reptilian, but this is still very much him. You can tell he's having a lot of fun telling the story and just kind of making it his own visually. So I'm not super crazy on the story that Tom is narrating here. I think it's kind of all over the place. But it is what it is. I'm going to finish it out, obviously. This just carries over from when Tom King wrote the ongoing Batman series, which I felt had a very strong start and just kind of detoured. But it's one of those things when you're a collector, you kind of got to buy everything and keep it going. So, yeah, see, there's the same thing there. But yeah, so this takes place way in the future, and more or less at this point, Catwoman, from what I've seen, is just trying to really lay waste to the rogues gallery that Batman could never kill. She's going in, and I don't even know if in those panels there, if she kills Penguin in there, or just like really broke his nose good, because I know she did the one kick, but then she does a follow-up one, and then there's, no follow-up from Penguin. So not sure if he's dead too, but I think previously she had killed the Joker as well, but the Joker was really old in there too. So the story's kind of all over the place, but I think the premise is basically it's an aged Selina Kyle doing what Bruce never could, going back and killing the rogues gallery. And then they've got the added bonus of kind of a blend up between Catwoman and Batman having a daughter together. So next we have Joker number 10. And this was another one that I really enjoyed. Kind of harkens back to the little bit of the Batman Year One style. I know it's not quite there artistically, but I certainly feel there's nods to it as well, of like the bizarre coloring, a little bit of like the Killing Joke initially, how it was colored. But this story here goes a lot more into Gordon's past and kind of how his sanity was questioned, and kind of humiliated him with his job. He tries to go back to work here, and they're like, you need to be cleared by your psychiatrist, and Jim is stubborn and not wanting to do all that. So, and then he inherits the issue of taking on Gordon Jr. here, who has an unhealthy obsession with the Joker already, and so he's saying, "Oh well, I'm trying to learn about him so I can recognize him, and if he tries to kill me, I can get somewhere safe." I mean, it's kind of obvious you're gonna recognize the Joker if you see him, but that's the excuse he gives. But yeah, he's just going through his dad's stuff and looking at all of his dossiers on the Joker here, and tries to take his gun and stuff. And so this kind of deals a lot more with, Joker hasn't just touched the lives of even Jim Gordon and Barbara, but also, his littlest kid too, have all been kind of infected with this curse that the Joker brings when he inserts himself into your life. And he hasn't killed you, and if he continues to toy with you and your family. So really well written. Next we have Batman Urban Legends number 10. And I read this. There wasn't really any standout to me in here. We get a little bit more of the commentary between Tim Drake's. It's not a full-fledged relationship yet, I don't think. With, I think his name is, let's see here. I thought I had it and then I forgot it. Or Bernard. I was going to say Barney, but I knew that wasn't it. So yeah, this is Bernard. This is Tim Drake's boyfriend here. And so he talks briefly to Bruce about it, and Bruce is just like, well, if he's happy, if you're happy, I'm glad you're happy, and all that sort of stuff. So a little bit of the dynamic there. As far as the actual anything else in the story, nothing really happens. It's just kind of a standard Batman and Robin taking on a heavy here. And then, we get some compassion here out of Batman too. Tim is worried that that Bruce is gonna lay waste to these people, kind of, who are kind of just like the shreds of humanity. I think they're either homeless or destitute or something to that extent. But yeah, Batman shows compassion to these people, and we get a hug out of him. So it's not very characteristic of Bruce, but it's just kind of saying, hey, here's a bit of compassion from him. He's not beneath, punching his way. He doesn't just punch his way through scenarios. He actually sympathizing with these people here. So there's that. And there's where the talk happens here. And I mean, I don't think we get a lot of an actual emotional registry from here. I mean, this is really where everything happens, and they're both looking away, and he's got clenched fists and all this sort of stuff. But the dialogue is there at the very least. So, and then we have this story here is about Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and how I'm trying to remember which one is which, but basically one of them is super, super sick, and he's been trying to get him help. So he's got boatloads of cash, but basically everywhere he's been trying to go to get him medical help, they're just like, well, we can't just take wads of cash. That's not how all this works, and you haven't filled out this paperwork correctly and all this stuff. So this is really a story of kind of desperation from a villain, and they're talking about how basically the only reason they even did this job is so he could get his brother help, because his brother's just been has no energy and been very almost comatose. So that's what this story is about, and it takes a turn that I'm not going to spoil either. But and then we get a story about Azrael here. I think this is actually a flashback here. They're talking about the Lazarus pits and stuff, and how it's basically considered an abomination to their religious beliefs and everything like that, kind of making a mockery of what Christ did. So this is a bit about them like trying to prevent Ra's al Ghul from having access to such a resource as the Lazarus Pits. And then we get at the end, we get another story here, kind of about people acting uncivilized during the holidays here, and that's the first bit of it anyway, but it's about Dick Grayson trying to avoid a Christmas get-together, and so then there's a bit of like a Christmas Carol sort of scenario where he sees like different benchmarks, past Christmases and stuff, future, past, present, and then he comes around and eventually has a Christmas celebration with the Bat family. Next we have Batman The Adventures Continue, Season 2, Number 7. And I think this wraps up the full story. I haven't been getting a lot of to be continueds at the end of this books. But basically this right here is the culmination of the campaign thing with this guy here. We find out he's been swaying people's opinion with a bit of tech from the Mad Hatter here. And the election night is in this comic here, and so it deals with them trying to sway the last little bit of voters, because it's pretty much split right down the middle, even with the mind control device. So not a bad story. I'm just wondering if it's still continuing or this was the conclusion of the whole thing or not. Let's see, Legends of the Dark Knight, number 8. So nothing. I think the cover was the thing I liked the most about this particular book here. Nothing really standing out to me about it. We get kind of another story about a girl who's down on her luck here. Well, I guess there's multiples, but it really highlights one of the people, as you'll see. Basically, there's like a jewel theft that happens, and Batman's able to find one of them, and it's actually a little girl, and he's convincing her to give back the stuff and not take up this life, more or less. So that's really what it's about, and it's about giving her a second chance, and they might do more with this character. I'm not sure. I kind of have a feeling they are, especially with her on the cover and everything. She's just calling herself Ghost, or like the Ghost Dogs or something like that. So this might be a first appearance book for her, but nothing too shocking. And then we get another retelling of Tragedy of Bruce's origin here. Just kind of the emotional side. Nothing really standing out. Us as readers, we've kind of seen Batman's parents die, probably about 1,000 or so times now, so it's nice to see, artists' different take on it. And then there's a bit of talk here with the Scarecrow. I think kind of with him dealing a bit with the death of his parents. And I think that's all that is in this one. So that first appearance might be a thing, but other than that, nothing really stood out. Now this book, I wasn't expecting anything. Like, the cover is nice here. We see Dick Grayson here sleeping with his new dog. This is Nightwing number 87. And when you open it up, you're greeted to, I was like, oh, that's an interesting font choice there and stuff. But we get we see the start of it here, but it didn't even become apparent to me till about a page or two in. So he's on the phone here, talking to Barbara. And then we continue to see more of the credits here. we see him here. And what's cool is the whole issue becomes a chase sequence. So everything, the whole thing, if you look here, connects onto the next page. You look here, connects on. So he's chasing this van here. They have his dog. So the whole issue is kinetic. We actually see the whole thing in motion here. So I thought that was really cool. Super fast to read, but just really fun visually to see someone utilize kind of that tool in comics. Very sequential style, no doubt. Let's see. And then it stops here, and then there's the final confrontation and stuff, which it's still inside where they finish it out to have everything connect. But I just thought that was really cool. It's a really unique thing in storytelling that you don't see a lot in comics, that I thought it was cool they utilized. So, and then we have Turtles number 124. The Turtles always kind of like to do like a Christmas aside sort of comic, it seems. And so this one is deals with the missing little, I forget even what they are. What the heck are they? I think they're badgers, I think. So deals with the missing kids there. And yeah, the whole book is actually silent. So this is just all visuals here, no dialogue, with the exception of there is one instance of basically someone writes a letter to communicate where the kids are, to communicate that they're with this person but they're safe. And then we see Shredder's ghost here, and once again he's not trying to harm anyone. He's actually helping. He's actually the person who communicates the note to kind of put the turtles at ease on this Christmas night, that those kids are safe and that they're with Hob. So really cool. And yeah, just kind of a slower paced Christmas story with another unique thing, just telling the story through the pictures, which, I mean, your art should do that. If you take away the dialogue, you should be able to tell what's going on in your book. So next we have the Shredder Best of TMNT special here. So this is a collection of stories. We get 3 of them here. Starts off with Shredder's first appearance, which was naturally the first issue of the Ninja Turtles. So we get the recolored one. I'll turn to picture of Shredder there. And yeah, they had killed him off in the first issue, and they're like, oh, everyone seemed to like him, so I guess we got to bring him back. And then we get the Shredder story from the micro series of the IDW Turtles, which was okay. I don't honestly remember a lot about it. They were still setting a lot of groundwork in this particular book. I said I don't remember. I remember like this kid here, but I don't remember a lot of what happened in it. And then finally we get what I consider some of Sanluco's best turtle work here. We get the Shredder in Hell #1 story in here, which was a mini-series of I think 5 issues. Sanluco is my favorite modern Turtles artist, and this was like I said, his best work for Turtles, I would feel. We just kind of added extra elements to it, gave it kind of a more unique style here. It's an elevated presentation from the other stuff. His other stuff's good. It's usually just kind of the standard comic coloring and everything, but this, it just looks visually more striking. We get a bit painterly almost, and it was just really good. Unfortunately, I think it was overlooked quite a bit, but if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. If you like Shredder and you like good art and the Ninja Turtles narrative, by all means pick it up. Deals a lot with Shredder's history and motivation and things like that. Next we have Gunslinger #3. And so, yeah, Gunslinger is spinning right out of the regular Spawn. It's So immediately we get treated to some nice dinosaur drawings there. Not a usual thing to find in Spawn, but I guess it's this lady's pet here. So there's some elements of it there, kind of where she goes, they go. And yeah, so the Gunslinger is still trying to learn about the modern day, and so this dude right here is still helping him and giving him supplies and things like that. So it's still really much a story of a man out of time here, trying to adapt and figure things out. Hooks him up with some sunglasses. So yeah, it's very much, almost comedic in elements and stuff like that. And then there's kind of a huge thing that happens at the end of this book that I won't spoil, but yeah, if you're buying Spawn, you naturally want to buy this too. And we have King Spawn, number 5. And I think the Kincaid arc had wrapped. I think he killed him in the last one. I mean, that's what it looked like, but who even knows anymore? Just the rules in Spawn change so frequently, it's hard to tell what's a permanent development and what isn't. So basically in this one, we still have the threat of the terrorists who are kind of manipulating the Bible for their crusade to kill a bunch of kids to appease their Dark Lord and all this sort of stuff. And Spawn is still trying his best to find the network of it, connect all the pieces, and put them into an end. He does not tolerate whenever people mess with kids in any capacity, whether, the list. I'm not going to go through it, but yeah, don't mess with kids if you don't want to get, you know what I mean. Spawn will mess you up if he finds out you're messing with kids in any capacity. So, and then there's a reveal at the end of this, another basically ghost from Spawn's past comes to life in here too, which I'm not actually familiar with the person in here, or it could be who I think it is. And if it is, then that's pretty crazy. I think it might be. So don't quote me on that. I'm not huge on early Spawn. I'm really on the newer stuff. So we've got Berserker number 6 next here. And this is continuing on. Just telling the narrative here of Berserker kind of doing his thing and trying to figure out who he is. I think that's just kind of the drive of the whole thing, is him uncovering more bits of his past and trying to reconnect. And by the end of the book, he reveals kind of a connecting motivation that the agency he works for is concerned with. One is compassionate, but basically the higher up in the company is like, we don't need this direction from him. We need to rein him in before this escalates even further. But how do you rein in someone who can pretty much come out of any way you choose to try to kill him? So yeah, they're kind of marooned here, or they're not marooned, but they're stranded, and then one of them suggests, hey, let's use the ship to get back to where we need to be. And he's like, no, he has a bad past here with a shipwright. I think this is a Viking ship here. And so he's like, nah, I think we'll just walk instead. So this is more or less, he's healing himself, and they're continuing on their journey on foot. And he more or less keeps the other soldier alive as he is regenerating. Oh yeah, piece 2. There's been so many moving parts with this month, and I do apologize, between my daughter's dance recital and me being sick, and And I did finally see SpiderMan No Way Home. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I know people are curious about my thoughts. I'd like to get like kind of like one of the magazine things and do a flip through and do more talk about it. But obviously, if you're a Spider-Man fan, go see it. I thought this was probably one of the best Spider-Man movies. Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock is still probably my favorite superhero movie of all time. But this is such a love letter to all the Spider-Man franchises that if you liked any one of those Spider-Man movies, I think you're gonna come away from this movie um, feeling pleased, feeling there's a lot of fan service. Let's put it that way, and I think there were a lot of good developments in it. But I want to get into that in an actual focused video, but I don't know about relevancy and all this sort of stuff, you know, the YouTube algorithm and all that. But yeah, highly recommend the movie. Certainly up there on my list. One of the best Spider-Man movies, certainly, maybe right behind Spider-Man 2 for me, just because there's so much fan service, and I just really liked all the developments. And I mean, you know, they talk about multiverses and stuff and all this with the MCU and all that. This was the best possible utilization of, you know, a multiverse with past films and stuff. So, like I said, if you liked any Spider-Man movies in the past, if you like Spider-Man in general, even if you have a mild curiosity, go see it. This was what I feel. This was another like culmination movie, you know, kind of like Endgame was kind of a fever pitch for the Avengers and all that sort of stuff, and we see a transition. You know, half of that team is no longer in the picture, that sort of a stuff. Likewise, Spider-Man, we see a whole lot of development happen in this film. We see a lot of references and nods and all sorts of just Easter eggs and stuff. So, highly recommend it. Yeah, go see it if you haven't. Next, we have The Trial of Magneto, number 5. And this one I actually got from my local shop because it has a Dan Jurgens cover, who, as you guys know, did more or less my favorite run on Superman. And so I haven't seen him do a lot of Marvel stuff. So Marvel had him doing some variant covers. I got his Hulk one and his Spider-Man one. So I still have the normal version of this book in my other comic shops box. Which, by the way, reminder, go clean out your box. It's the end of the year. The shops need to reset inventory. So, but yeah, so this unwraps the mystery of how Scarlet Witch, quote unquote, got killed and how she came back. So this issue is what you want if you've skipped everything in the middle of this story and you're only interested in the literal narrative of the how and the why. This is the book you're going to want to read. So, certainly very interesting. You learn a bit more about power of quite a few mutants. There's basically 3 of them that are kind of pointed to as being some of like the most powerful, but not in the same way we think of like Wolverine and stuff, but basically some that are linked together that can cause a resurrection to happen outside of the weird egg resurrection way that's been shown previously in the X-Men. So finally we have Catwoman number 38, and this was another one that was just on my box for the variant cover here. Read the inside. Not really a whole lot going on, just kind of wrapping things up from Fear State and all this sort of stuff. Like I said, nothing that really stood out to me in this, but yeah, I got it for the cover. So okay, so I will go on to show off my Christmas stuff that I got. Well, I got one thing outside of Christmas, so I'll show that first. They recently released the Rocketeer migo, And so there he is there. I'm real tempted to take him out of the box, but I'm not going to. It's really hard for me to actually. Maybe I'll get a second one. But yeah, he's got like the faux leather jacket there, the cloth pants. I don't see the little gum spot on his jetpack there where he sealed it up to make it fly. But yeah, it's got the little bit of the movie poster there. And I wasn't actually aware this was a migo at first. I just thought, this was a random giant figure here, but I thought we get a little bit of the history of migo, which I didn't know about, so really nice little toy. If you're a fan of the Rocketeer, there's a lot more Rocketeer stuff coming. I'm assuming the estate needs money or something like that, because there's been an influx for sure of Rocketeer merch, which is great because I love the hero a lot. So, okay, next we got some random things here. So, got a couple games. This is one that I didn't ask for, but I'm glad I got. So this is Oddworld Soulstorm. This is a remaster of Oddworld 2. I believe. I'm trying to remember the name of the second Oddworld. But yeah, so this is the day one edition, and it's just in a steel book, a raised sort of cover on it. Nothing special to it. It's got the game in there. And I actually haven't played the first one. I've always seen this series. It's kind of one of those classic PlayStation games. And that's the back of it there. But yes, I'm actually playing the first one. I had to download the first one because this is the sequel. I'm trying to read on here which one it actually is. But yeah, this is a remake of the second Oddworld, more or less. So I'm playing the first one, the remastered, new and tasty version. So I got that. And then I got Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which, as you guys know, I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan. Still behind on a lot of games. I've got like maybe 3 others to play, but this was just one more I needed to purchase. So, got this game here. Nothing unique about it. I think there's a paper thing inside of there. No, they do have, you can switch the cover out with the female protagonist there. So that's cool. And then we got Will Smith's biography here. Will? Which, I mean, if you grew up in the 90s and stuff, you've probably seen quite a few of his movies and watched Fresh Prince and all that. So Will is always someone who I was entertained by for a good long time. I saw pretty much most of his movies when they came out, except for I think I stopped around Pursuit of Happiness, somewhere around there. So I haven't seen, there's a few of his movies I haven't seen now, but I mean, before it was like clockwork. They came out and I watched them. So this is a story of his life and kind of how he's dealt with everything. I really love the cover. The drawing here is great. And kind of your standard fare in here. And yeah, we've got like, there's some pictures and stuff in here too. Early stuff here. So yeah, I'm excited to read this. I really like Will. So. Next, I got this great art book here. This is the Marvel art of the Brothers Hildebrandt. They pretty much did a lot of like non-traditional stuff for Marvel, so like trading cards and posters and video game boxes and that sort of thing. So I'm not going to show off too much of this now. I'll do a future video, full detailed flip through of this, but just to kind of show you briefly. Yeah, so we see a bit of, whatever, and we see like some photo reference there too, and yeah, so it just kind of goes through their process. You can see drawings and things like that. So I had an X-Men poster from them on my wall for years that I got gifted from a friend for my birthday long time ago. So I was like, oh yeah, I know these guys. And I made like an Amazon gift list. This was one of the books I put on it. So I'm glad to get it, and I'm glad to share the whole thing with you guys in a later video. So this is the big crazy thing I was gifted. There is a friend of mine who knows that I shop at Everett Comics and stuff, and so they had surprised me by coming by at a random time and dropping this in my box at Everett Comics. They said put this in his box, and then the owner did, and so this is. These are layout panels from King of the Hill, which I absolutely love. So these are like real production pieces here. And yeah, so you just get some fun little drawings here. This is all pencil, so these aren't copies. This is the actual work here. Little Hank Hill here. He's got no eyes though. And then there's like a background. I've got some. And then this one's like a straight on blue pencil, but more detailed there. So really cool. I was not expecting to get this. I'm glad I did. And yeah, I mean, if you've seen like the one issue I did do of the Bull so far, I do like drawing like kind of everyday looking people, so I'd say I have a pretty good influence from like King of the Hill and stuff like that. So just really love the fact that they kind of remembered that little note about me and surprised me with this. So it's probably one of my favorite things that I got here. Just really nice. So I'm not exactly sure where they got it. They may have got it at a convention or something like that, but if you're a big King of the Hill fan, I'm sure you might be able to find something like this too. But so that's gonna do it for now. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see, and as always, you all have a super slumber. Thanks. Bye.